The early years, extended. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, in Funchal, a small city located on the island of Madeira in Portugal. His birth took place in the middle of a working-class neighborhood, where life wasn't easy for his family. The island, though beautiful, was far removed from the grandeur of the mainland cities. Here, in this modest environment, a young boy was about to rise from humble beginnings to become one of the most famous athletes in the world. Ronaldo was the youngest of 4 children, born to José Diniz Aveiro, a gardener, and Maria Dolores dos Santos Aveiro, a cook. Money was always tight, and the Aveiro family often struggled to make ends meet. Despite the financial hardships, Ronaldo's parents worked hard to provide for their children. His father worked in the local parks and gardens, while his mother cooked for wealthy families. Ronaldo's family was close-knit, and even though they had little, they valued their togetherness and love. Growing up in Funchal, young Cristiano didn't have the luxury of expensive toys or a fancy upbringing, but he did have an innate love for football. From a young age, Ronaldo showed a natural flair for the game. He was an active child, always out on the streets, kicking a ball against the walls or playing with his friends. With limited resources, they would often improvise, using bottles, old shoes, or whatever they could find as makeshift footballs. Despite this, his friends and family noticed something special about him. Ronaldo had an energy and determination that set him apart from other children his age. The streets of Funchal were filled with kids playing football, but Ronaldo's talent was already becoming apparent. As early as the age of 5, he began playing in organized youth teams. His first club was Andorina, a small local team in his neighborhood, where he was coached by his father, José. The humble team was nothing compared to the big football institutions, but it laid the groundwork for Ronaldo's skills and work ethic. His father, despite his own lack of professional football experience, recognized his son's passion for the game and did everything in his power to support him, even if it meant sacrificing time with his family. However, as Ronaldo's talent continued to grow, so did the realization that he might need to leave Madeira in order to pursue his dreams. Though it pained his family to consider it, it was clear that Ronaldo needed to seek greater opportunities elsewhere. At the age of 8, he joined a more competitive team, Nassr, which was based in Funchal. Nassr was a step up from Andorina, and it allowed Ronaldo to develop his skills alongside other talented young players. He played with and against players who had more experience, which pushed him to become better. His incredible speed, close ball control, and sharp instincts on the field made him stand out. Ronaldo's rise in the local football scene did not go unnoticed. By the time he was 10 years old, he was already considered one of the brightest talents on the island. However, the more he excelled, the more he realized that there was a bigger world beyond Madeira, one that offered greater competition and higher stakes. It was at this point that his family had to make a difficult decision. They would support Ronaldo in his move to Lisbon, the capital city of Portugal, to further his career. The decision to move was an incredibly tough one, especially for a young boy who had never been away from his family. Ronaldo had to leave behind the comfort of his home, his friends, and his island for an entirely new world. But the lure of pursuing a professional career was strong, and with the support of his parents, he made the life-changing decision to move to the mainland. Ronaldo's family, despite their tight finances, made sacrifices to make this dream a reality. They could not afford to visit him frequently, so it was left to the young boy to navigate the challenges of this new chapter on his own. Ronaldo's mother, Maria Dolores, later reflected on how hard it was to send him off, saying that it was the hardest decision of her life, as she worried about his safety and well-being. But she also understood that this was his chance to succeed. They knew that if they didn't support him now, he might never get the opportunity again. At just 11 years old, Ronaldo moved to Lisbon and joined the youth academy of Sporting Clube de Portugal, one of the country's most prestigious football clubs. Sporting's youth system had a reputation for producing some of Portugal's best talent, and it became the next important step in Ronaldo's development. The transition was not easy. At the academy, Ronaldo faced the harsh realities of being away from home. For the first time in his life, he was surrounded by players who had better resources, better facilities, and more experience. The competition was fierce, and the pressure was immense. But the young boy from Madeira did not back down. Ronaldo's determination grew stronger, and he began to channel his homesickness into hard work and focus. He trained relentlessly, always aiming to improve. Even though the other players in the academy were often bigger and stronger, Ronaldo's incredible work ethic made him stand out. His skills were raw but potent. He had an incredible knack for dribbling, an ability to outmaneuver opponents with ease, and an instinctive understanding of the game that was far beyond his years. During his time at Sporting's academy, Ronaldo's personal life took another hit. His father, José Diniz Aveiro, struggled with alcoholism, and this put additional strain on the family. He became increasingly ill, and his relationship with his son became strained. But Ronaldo used these personal difficulties to fuel his ambitions. As his father's health worsened, Ronaldo became even more determined to succeed, vowing to make it in football for both himself and his family. His determination was growing, as was his resolve to make his dreams a reality. By the age of 12, Ronaldo was already playing for Sporting's under-16 team. His performances were eye-catching, and it was clear that he was not just a talented player from Madeira, but a rising star in Portuguese football. He moved quickly through the ranks, progressing to the under-18s and then the B team by the age of 15. At this stage, it was evident that Ronaldo's talent could not be contained in the youth ranks for much longer. At 16, Ronaldo finally made his breakthrough into the first team of Sporting CP. He was still a teenager, but his pace, dribbling skills, and confidence on the ball made him stand out even in the senior squad. His first professional match came in 2002 against Moreirense in the Primeira Liga, Portugal's top football division. Ronaldo's appearance in the senior team was a testament to the hard work and sacrifices he and his family had made. It also marked the beginning of his rise from a young boy with a dream to one of the most talked about young players in the country. In the early stages of his career, Ronaldo's story was not just about talent. It was about overcoming personal challenges, immense pressure, and the hardships of being far away from his family. It was a story of resilience, hard work, and an unyielding drive to succeed. Little did he know that the next few years would catapult him onto the world stage, where he would become a legend in the making. Discovering talent and moving to the mainland extended. At the age of 11, Cristiano Ronaldo left the island of Madeira and moved to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, to pursue his football dreams. This was a monumental step in his young life. For a boy who had spent his early years in the small town of Funchal, far from the glamour and bustle of mainland Portugal, the transition was nothing short of life-changing. Lisbon, with its bustling streets and vast football culture, was a world apart from the quiet island life Ronaldo had known. But deep inside, Ronaldo was ready for the challenge, determined to fulfill the dream that had started on the streets of Madeira. When he first arrived in Lisbon, Ronaldo stayed at a youth hostel, away from his family and the comforts of home. His life revolved around football, training at Sporting Clube de Portugal's prestigious academy. For the first time, he was exposed to the highest level of youth football in Portugal, competing alongside some of the best young players in the country. The academy was known for producing top-tier talent, and Cristiano knew that he had to work harder than ever to make a name for himself. Despite being away from his family, the young boy's determination never wavered. He found solace and comfort in football, and with each passing day, his skills improved. However, the transition was not without its challenges. Ronaldo, already a determined and focused player, had to adjust to the different style of football that was played in Lisbon. The pace was quicker, the competition was fiercer, and the pressure was immense. But what set Ronaldo apart was his resilience. He was not deterred by the demands of the academy. Instead, he used them to fuel his drive to improve. His time in Sporting CP's academy marked a key period in his development as a footballer. Ronaldo trained intensely every day, working on his weaknesses and refining his strengths. His dribbling ability, in particular, was something that stood out. While many of his peers focused on strength and speed, Ronaldo's ability to glide past defenders with ease made him an exciting prospect. His low center of gravity, combined with an exceptional first touch, allowed him to maneuver through tight spaces, often leaving defenders floundering in his wake. While most of his peers at the academy were focused solely on their technical skills, Ronaldo also focused heavily on the mental side of the game. He was always looking for ways to become a better player, studying the techniques of top footballers, analyzing their movements and decision-making. His idol at the time was Luís Figo, a legendary Portuguese winger who had played for Sporting CP before moving to Barcelona and later Real Madrid. Ronaldo admired Figo's style, his ability to change the course of a game with a single piece of skill, and the way he carried himself on and off the field. Despite the obvious talent Ronaldo possessed, the reality of being away from home began to take its toll on him. The homesickness was overwhelming at times. Lisbon was a big, bustling city, and it was difficult for Ronaldo to adapt to life without the comfort of his family. The young player was now living in a foreign city, away from his mother, his siblings, and his friends. For a boy who had grown up in a small, close-knit community, this was a huge adjustment. But rather than let it defeat him, Ronaldo used these emotions to drive himself further. His love for the game and his desire to make it to the top were far stronger than the homesickness he was experiencing. This sense of purpose and determination soon began to pay off. Ronaldo's performances in Sporting's youth teams were exceptional. His breakthrough came when he played for the under-16 team at just 12 years old, and it didn't take long for coaches and scouts to take notice of his potential. Ronaldo's performances were becoming the talk of the academy, and he quickly earned a spot in the under-18 team, where he would go on to shine even brighter. By the time Ronaldo was 15, he was already being called up to Sporting's senior team for training sessions. The club saw a rare combination of talent, athleticism, and hunger to succeed in him, and they knew it wouldn't be long before he would make his professional debut. His speed, agility, and skill on the ball were impressive, but it was his work ethic that truly set him apart. Ronaldo was constantly seeking ways to improve, and he was never satisfied with simply being good, he wanted to be the best. At 16, Ronaldo made his first senior appearance for Sporting CP in a friendly match against the senior team of a local club, Moreirense. His performance was so impressive that even the experienced players at Sporting began to take notice. Ronaldo was beginning to show signs of greatness, and it was clear to everyone that he was destined for something bigger than what Sporting CP could offer. However, Ronaldo's rise to prominence wasn't just about his performances on the field. His personal life, particularly his relationship with his father, also played a crucial role in shaping his career. Ronaldo's father, José Diniz Aveiro, struggled with alcoholism, which affected both his health and his relationship with his son. Despite this, Ronaldo maintained a deep respect and admiration for his father, even as their relationship became strained over the years. José's illness cast a shadow over Ronaldo's early life, and his father's battle with alcoholism was something that weighed heavily on him. Ronaldo's mother's influence was also vital during this period. Maria Dolores, a strong and loving mother, was a constant source of support for her son. She encouraged him through the toughest times, reminding him that his dream was bigger than any obstacle. It was her belief in him that allowed Ronaldo to keep going even when life in Lisbon became overwhelming. She would later say that sending her son to Lisbon was the hardest decision of her life, but she knew it was the right thing to do. Ronaldo's rise to prominence wasn't limited to his performances in Lisbon, it soon started attracting attention from the global football community. His breakout year came in 2003 when he was called up to represent Portugal's under-17 team in international competitions. Ronaldo's performances on the international stage were exceptional, and his talent caught the eye of scouts from some of the top European clubs, including Manchester United. It was during this period that fate would take a decisive turn for Ronaldo. His performances were so impressive that in 2003, just after his 18th birthday, he was invited to play in a friendly match between Sporting CP and Manchester United. The match would become a pivotal moment in Ronaldo's career, one that would change the trajectory of his life forever. Manchester United's legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson, who had been keeping an eye on Ronaldo's progress, was immediately struck by the young winger's skill, flair, and confidence. After the match, Ferguson made up his mind. He wanted Ronaldo, and the pursuit of the young Portuguese talent began in earnest. Ronaldo's dream of playing in one of the top European leagues was within reach, and a new chapter in his life was about to unfold. But before that, there was still one last hurdle to cross: the decision to leave Sporting CP, the club that had nurtured him, and take the league to a foreign country, where a new world awaited. Breaking into the first team, extended. Cristiano Ronaldo's transfer to Manchester United in 2003 marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one that would transform him from a promising young talent into one of the best players in the world. But before that monumental move, there were critical moments that shaped his path, and his time at Sporting CP was where he truly began to come into his own as a professional footballer. At Sporting, Ronaldo's rise through the ranks was nothing short of meteoric. By the time he was 16, he was already a key player for Sporting's B team, a stepping stone to the senior squad. His performances caught the attention of the senior team's coaches, and soon, he was invited to train with the first team. This was a massive step for a teenager, and it was clear that Ronaldo was not just another player, but someone special. His ability to dribble past defenders with ease, his explosive pace, and his fearless approach to the game were evident to all who saw him play. However, Ronaldo was not just gifted with natural talent, his work ethic was extraordinary. While many young players might have relied on their abilities alone, Ronaldo was known for his tireless dedication to improving every single day. He would stay after training, working on his technique, fine-tuning his skills, and learning from the more experienced players. His commitment to his craft was already a hallmark of his career, and it was what set him apart from other players in Sporting's academy. He constantly sought feedback from coaches and older teammates, always looking for ways to improve his game. It wasn't long before Ronaldo made his professional debut for Sporting CP's senior team. In 2002, at just 17 years old, he played in his first Primera Liga match against Moreirense. His performance was solid, but it was his second appearance that really turned heads. In a game against Boavista, Ronaldo's dazzling dribbling skills and his ability to beat defenders with ease left the crowd in awe. He was no longer just another talented youth, he was a potential future star of Portuguese football. By the 2003-2004 season, Ronaldo was a regular fixture in Sporting's first team, playing in both domestic competitions and the UEFA Cup. It was during this time that his performances began attracting attention from some of the biggest football clubs in Europe. His dribbling, pace, and flair made him a nightmare for defenders, and his ability to create chances for his teammates and score goals made him a complete attacking player. Ronaldo was quickly becoming one of the most exciting young players in Europe, and his name was on the lips of football fans across the continent. But perhaps the most pivotal moment of his career came in the summer of 2003, when Sporting CP played a friendly match against the legendary Manchester United team. This match, played at Sporting's home stadium in Lisbon, would become one of the most significant events in Ronaldo's life. For years, Ronaldo had dreamed of playing at the highest level of European football, and now, in front of thousands of fans and scouts from some of the world's biggest clubs, he had the chance to prove himself on a global stage. From the first whistle, it was clear that Ronaldo was the standout player on the pitch. His electric pace and dazzling footwork left Manchester United's defenders struggling to cope. He attacked with confidence, creating chances, dribbling past seasoned professionals like Ryan Giggs, Roy Keane, and Gary Neville. By the end of the match, Ronaldo had impressed not only his opponents but also Sir Alex Ferguson, the manager of Manchester United. Ferguson had already heard of Ronaldo's talent, but seeing him play in person confirmed his belief that the young Portuguese star had the potential to be one of the best in the world. The following days saw intense discussions between Manchester United and Sporting CP over a potential transfer, and soon, it became clear that Ronaldo was heading to England. The transfer was finalised in the summer of 2003, with Manchester United paying a reported £12.24 million for the 18-year-old winger. At the time, this was a record transfer fee for a teenager, and it marked a bold move by Ferguson, who saw Ronaldo's potential to transform United's attack. The move was not just a financial investment, it was a statement of intent that Manchester United was willing to bet on the future of Portuguese football. Ronaldo's arrival at Manchester United was met with great excitement, but also with high expectations. The Premier League was one of the toughest and most competitive leagues in the world, and the transition from Portugal to England was never going to be easy. Ronaldo would have to adapt to a new footballing culture, a faster pace of play, and a more physical style of football. The pressure was on, and many doubted whether the young star could handle the demands of one of the biggest football clubs in the world. The early months at Manchester United were challenging for Ronaldo. The physicality of the Premier League was unlike anything he had experienced in Portugal, and many of his early performances were inconsistent. He struggled with his decision-making and was often criticized for trying to do too much on the ball. However, Ronaldo's character and determination were never in question. He worked tirelessly to adapt to his new surroundings, learning from the likes of Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, and Roy Keane, who took him under their wing. Despite the challenges, Ronaldo's talent was undeniable. His skill on the ball, his ability to beat defenders, and his fearless attacking play quickly endeared him to Manchester United fans. His first season at the club was a learning experience, but by the end of the campaign, it was clear that Ronaldo had the potential to be a world-class player. He scored his first goal for the club in a 3-0 win over Portsmouth, and his performances in the Champions League, where he showed his flair on the European stage, further highlighted his immense promise. Ronaldo's second season at Manchester United was when he truly began to showcase his abilities. He had adapted to the physical demands of the Premier League and had become more decisive in his play. His dribbling was more controlled, his crosses more accurate, and his finishing more clinical. The 2004-2005 season was a breakthrough for Ronaldo, as he began to establish himself as one of the most exciting wingers in world football. He helped Manchester United win the FA Cup, and his performances in the Premier League earned him the PFA Young Player of the Year award. But it was the following season, the 2005-2006 campaign, that really marked Ronaldo's arrival as a true global star. Ronaldo's performances were exceptional, and his ability to score goals and create assists made him a key player in Sir Alex Ferguson's team. Ronaldo had become the focal point of United's attack, and he began to form a potent partnership with Wayne Rooney, whose combination of pace and finishing complemented Ronaldo's flair and creativity. As the years passed, Ronaldo continued to evolve as a player. Under Ferguson's guidance, he honed his finishing, worked on his positioning, and developed into a complete forward. He was no longer just a winger who could dribble and cross the ball, he had become a goal-scoring machine. Ronaldo's transformation from a promising young talent into one of the best players in the world was swift, and his rise to prominence continued as he became Manchester United's star player. The summer of 2007 saw Ronaldo cement his place among the footballing elite. He helped Manchester United win the Premier League title, finishing the season with 17 goals and 7 assists. His incredible performances earned him the PFA Player of the Year award, and it was clear that Ronaldo was no longer just a prodigious talent, he was one of the best players in the world. Ronaldo's time at Manchester United was a defining period in his career. It was here that he developed into a true superstar, winning numerous titles and individual awards. But more than that, it was at United that Ronaldo learned what it meant to be the best, and the experiences and lessons he gained in England would lay the foundation for the next phase of his extraordinary career. The rise to stardom extended. Cristiano Ronaldo's transformation from a talented teenager into one of the world's best players was nothing short of spectacular. By the time the 2007-2008 season arrived, the young Portuguese winger had firmly established himself as the focal point of Manchester United's attack. Under the guidance of Sir Alex Ferguson, Ronaldo continued to evolve, both in terms of his skills on the pitch and his mentality off it. This was the season when the world would truly begin to recognize his greatness. Ronaldo's development at Manchester United was a testament to both his hard work and the club's belief in his potential. Early in his career, critics had often pointed out his tendency to overdo his tricks, his inconsistent finishing, and his sometimes erratic decision-making. But as he gained experience, he refined his game. Ronaldo had evolved from a raw, flamboyant winger into a clinical, world-class forward. His dribbling was sharper, his finishing more precise, and his ability to create chances for teammates had made him a complete player. However, it was his goal-scoring ability that would ultimately define him. The 2007-2008 season was Ronaldo's breakthrough year, and it marked the beginning of his rise to global stardom. He started the season with a bang, scoring consistently in both domestic and international competitions. In the Premier League, he was unstoppable, terrorizing defenders with his pace, footwork, and ability to score from almost anywhere on the pitch. He had developed a knack for scoring stunning goals, whether they were long-range strikes, free kicks, or poachers' finishes in the box. Ronaldo's ability to score from set pieces, in particular, was becoming one of his trademarks, and his free kick against Portsmouth in November 2007 became an iconic moment in his career. By the time the calendar year turned to 2008, Ronaldo had already scored over 20 goals in all competitions, and his performances had catapulted Manchester United to the top of the Premier League standings. His partnership with Wayne Rooney and Carlos Tevez created one of the most lethal attacking trios in Europe, and United was firing on all cylinders. Ronaldo had truly become the heartbeat of Ferguson's team, capable of winning games single-handedly with his brilliance. But it wasn't just his club form that made Ronaldo's 2007-2008 season unforgettable. On the international stage, Ronaldo had become the cornerstone of the Portuguese national team. His performances in the 2008 UEFA European Championship further solidified his growing reputation. Although Portugal was eliminated in the semi-finals, Ronaldo was one of the tournament's standout players, scoring several goals and showcasing his ability to perform under pressure. His leadership on the international stage showed that he could thrive not just at the club level but also on the biggest stages in world football. As the season progressed, Ronaldo's achievements continued to pile up. His performances in the 2008 UEFA Champions League were particularly notable. In the knockout stages, Ronaldo's individual brilliance helped United reach the final against Chelsea. The match was a thrilling encounter, with both teams giving their all for European glory. Ronaldo, in typical fashion, put United ahead with a towering header, showcasing his aerial ability, a part of his game that had developed significantly over the years. However, the match would not be decided in regulation time. In the penalty shootout that followed, Ronaldo's early miss caused concern, but his teammates, led by a cool-headed Edwin van der Sar, held their nerve. Manchester United won the Champions League, clinching their third European title. Ronaldo had played an instrumental role in the team's success, and the victory cemented his place as one of the finest players in the world. The 2008 Champions League final was not just another club success, it was a pivotal moment in Ronaldo's career, marking the first time he was truly recognized as one of the world's top footballers. For his efforts that season, Ronaldo was awarded the Ballon d'Or in 2008, the prestigious individual accolade given to the best player in the world. At just 23 years old, he had achieved what most players could only dream of in their careers. The award was the culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and development, and it served as a reminder of how far Ronaldo had come since his days at Sporting CP. The 2008 Ballon d'Or marked the beginning of a new era for Ronaldo. He was no longer just a promising talent, he was the best player in the world, and his reputation continued to grow with each passing season. But with this newfound fame came greater expectations. Ronaldo was no longer the young prodigy, he was the player who was expected to lead Manchester United to glory year after year. And, as he would soon prove, he was more than capable of handling that pressure. The following season, 2008-2009, Ronaldo's dominance continued. He was a constant threat in both domestic and European competitions, although his individual form would be overshadowed by some team struggles. Despite this, Ronaldo continued to rack up goals, and his performances remained key to United's successes. He was a crucial figure in United's 2009 FIFA Club World Cup triumph and continued to help the team battle for the Premier League title. But, despite his brilliance, United fell just short of winning the Premier League and Champions League that year, with Barcelona's irresistible attacking play sweeping them aside in the Champions League final. While this season might have been a disappointment in terms of trophies, it was clear that Ronaldo was playing at an even higher level than before. His performances were still unmatched, and he had become even more complete as a footballer, combining technical brilliance with a clinical eye for goal. He was the ultimate attacking weapon, and the world had begun to expect greatness from him week after week. Off the pitch, Ronaldo's fame continued to grow. He had become a global icon, with millions of fans across the world. His appeal wasn't just due to his incredible talent, his charisma, fitness, and work ethic made him a role model for young footballers everywhere. Ronaldo's life had transformed dramatically since his days in Madeira. He was now one of the most famous and marketable athletes on the planet. His image adorned billboards, advertisements, and magazine covers around the world, and his personal brand continued to expand beyond the football field. Despite the growing pressures, Ronaldo remained focused on improving. His relentless pursuit of perfection meant that he was always looking for ways to evolve as a player. He continued to work on his technique, his fitness, and his mental approach to the game. As Manchester United prepared for the 2009-2010 season, it was clear that Ronaldo's future would be a defining one, not just for United but for world football as a whole. However, as much as Ronaldo had achieved at United, the lure of a new challenge was beginning to take hold. In the summer of 2009, after 6 years of incredible success at Old Trafford, Ronaldo made the decision to leave Manchester United and join Real Madrid in a world record transfer deal worth £80 million. While it was a bittersweet departure for both Ronaldo and United fans, it was the next step in his journey to becoming a global legend. Ronaldo's time at Manchester United had been transformative. It was where he had honed his skills, won multiple titles, and earned the recognition of the footballing world. But his move to Real Madrid would propel him into an even greater stratosphere, where he would continue to break records and redefine what it meant to be the best. His rise to stardom had only just begun.